I'm going to see Kong Skull Island. I know that I usually release these videos on Friday, but you know what? I'm going to give you guys an extra movie review. Because I like you a lot. Honestly, with a cast like this, you cannot go wrong. I mean, Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, John C. Reilly, John Goodman, Toby Kebbell. There's no way you get that amount of talent into your film and not at least have somewhat of a decent script going on. This movie is meant to be an in-universe... It's in the same universe as the Godzilla film that came out a couple of years back in 2014? 2014, not Godzilla. The last Godzilla movie with Bryan Cranston. It's obviously setting up a Kong versus Godzilla because now everything has to be a shared universe. Thanks, Marvel. My thoughts on the Godzilla film that came out not too long ago. It was alright. It had its good moments, and the main complaint I had with it was that it was a very slow build. It tried to do the Jaws technique where it reveals the monster slowly over time. And usually I'd be okay with that. But it only works if you have good, strong characters to follow. And I'm sorry, the Kick-Ass, whoever the Kick-Ass, what's his name? The Kick-Ass guy. I'm sorry, Kick-Ass guy. Your character in that movie was boring as shit. Yeah, so honestly, it's I don't know what to think about it. A lot of people are talking about it, so maybe I'll like it. Maybe the hype is maybe it's overrated. Who knows? Honestly, as long as I see King Kong tearing up shit and being a badass, I'll be happy.
It's time to show that man is king.
Alright, I just got out of seeing Kong, Skull Island, and, whew, boy, was that a good movie. Definitely a lot better than the Godzilla movie. The one thing that I wrote down was that, unlike the Godzilla movie, I mentioned it before, that it was kind of a slow build, and it was kind of ramping up and building suspense to when you finally see Godzilla. This film does none of that. And it wastes no time showing King Kong. He's in it like the first 5 minutes. And when he does eventually show up in like his whole full glory, like full body shots of King Kong, it's fantastic. He's shot in a very Sasquatch-like manner, and I really like that. It adds to his kind of mysticism and this kind of missing link kind of feeling that they're going with him. And I really like that Kong, throughout the entire movie, he's shot with this kind of... This film really loves and is very confident with their Kong. Unlike most Kongs from before, this one walks mostly on twos. He doesn't crawl on fours. It's a nice way to kind of differentiate this Kong and the other Kongs. Add to the fact that they like made him 100 feet tall, and this Kong is easily the most badass of all the other ones. Let's go over the casting. I wrote that Brie Larson is the perfect Lois Lane. She actually does a better Lois Lane in this movie than Amy Adams does in an actual Superman Lois Lane movie. That's pretty much her character, is she's got the dry wit, she's a reporter, she will do anything for the story, but she's not stupid. It's Lois Lane. I can't even think of any other way to describe this character. Sam Jackson it up. That's the perfect way to sum up his performance. It's Sam Jackson doing everything that you love. He's yelling, he's calling people mother he's calling people bitches. He's given that angry scowl, and it's fantastic. And I like his character. His character is very it's very Captain Ahab, which I think was the intention. He's lost his fight, and he finds it again by seeking vengeance with Kong. And his vengeance is what ultimately pushes him over the edge, in a sense. And I really like that. I always love that kind of, that Captain Ahab type, archetype. It's one of those character archetypes that never really gets old. It's always entertaining to watch. I wrote that Tom Hiddleston is the weakest link in terms of casting-wise. John Goodman doesn't really do a lot, but he's got enough screen presence that you're like, oh, this is John Goodman. I like watching him. And I like that John Goodman, in a sense, he's one of those great actors that can be very, very likable in one role, and then he can do a role like this where he's such a scummy little slime ball, and you totally buy it. Back on Tom Hiddleston, though, it's not that his performance is bad. It's actually a good performance. It's just, I don't really buy him as this kind of macho action man. I think his biggest downfall is that he's no match for the other actors in this movie. When you put Tom Hiddleston next to Samuel Jackson, you automatically want to watch Samuel Jackson more than him. When you put him next to John Goodman, you automatically want to watch John Goodman over him. It's not that he's a bad actor, it's just these other people have such a strong screen presence that you enjoy watching them a little bit more. John C. Reilly, I like his character a lot. I think his character is probably my favorite in the entire movie. Besides Kong, obviously. He brings an element of comedy to what would otherwise be a very dark and a very depressing kind of movie. People are getting killed left and right. And it's nice to have that comedic element to just it allows the film to be dark, depressing, but also fun. And that's the key word here, is this movie is fun. It is a lot of fun. It's not a masterpiece, but it is so goddamn entertaining from beginning to end. Well, not really beginning to end. There is this kind of spot in the middle where you're introducing all the human characters, and it does kind of run a little long, especially seeing as how most of the characters that they're introducing and that they're showing are just going to end up, they're basically there to have a body count, essentially. But right at the moment where I said this is kind of getting a little boring, it kicks into high gear, and everything from that point on to the very end of the film, phenomenal, fantastic stuff. I was on the edge of my seat. And oh my god, the final act of this film, literally like the last 10 minutes maybe, nothing but a big fight scene between Kong and this kind of alpha skull crawler. That's the creatures that he's fighting in this film, the skull crawlers. And oh my god, is it glorious. It is such a... This is the kind of fight scenes that we were missing in the Godzilla remake. It's not dark. The camera is far enough away that you can see the entire action. And just the moves that Kong is doing. He's like choking this guy out, and he's throwing him into cliffs, and he's punching him, elbowing him. He's like grabbing onto his jaws. He tries to like break his jaws. It's friggin' phenomenal. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Let's talk about the direction in this movie. I loved the director of this movie. He does a very, very good job making a very standard kind of action hero script look epic and look beautiful. And he's also very good at using the camera to tell just as much as the story as he is the actual plot and script. There's this great shot that I wrote down where there's these helicopters and they're flying in the background, and then the camera zooms in on a dragonfly, and the dragonfly lands on a leaf. and the helicopters are flying by, and the dragonfly looks just as big as the helicopter because the helicopters are in the distance and the dragonfly is up close. And that's a nice little bit of foreshadowing. That is using the camera to foreshadow the giant bugs and the giant creatures that these people in a helicopter are going to experience. That's good filmmaking. There's also like a lot of really iconic shots. There's the shot from the trailer where the flames like the flames kind of like part, and you see Kong, and he's just really angry. He's giving the scowl, and it's friggin' awesome. It's cool. And there's this other great shot where you're looking at sunglasses, and explosions are being reflected in the lenses. It's little things like that that make the film that much more unique and that much more interesting. That's kind of where the strength of this movie is that it has great performances and it has a competent enough director who knows how to make the best of so little. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wrote on this movie. Kong, Skull Island. Would I recommend seeing it in theaters? Yes. Just for the fact that it's such a big movie and there's such big characters that it's kind of worth seeing it on the big screen. But honestly, if you want to wait till it comes out on Netflix or DVD and watch it at home, I wouldn't argue against it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the movie. I hope you liked this video. And I'll see you in the next one, which I believe is going to be Beauty and the Beast. So hopefully that movie is good. Fingers crossed.